Top of the morning to you. It's Thursday, the 28th day of November 2024. And today, as always, we'll take a look at commodity reports and activities from our selected exchanges on the segment Opening Bell. We'll also take a look at business news stories around Africa and the rest of the world, which will come to you on Global Business. We'll also take a look at issues affecting businesses in the southeastern part of Nigeria on the Eastern Business Report. And finally, activities and conversations from around the market will come to you on Afia. Afia Business Morning takes center stage every weekday, 10 a.m. to 12 noon. My name is Ubong Kings. Welcome to the Afia Business Morning. Trading on the floor of the Nigerian exchange is open today. The exchange in London opened an hour ago. The New York exchange is yet to open, while in China, opening bells went off at 2 a.m. local time. On that note, I welcome you to the opening bell segment of the Afia Business Morning. But first, we're going to be taking a quick look at some business news stories making the rounds. We start out from the continental economy, where it's reported that Zimbabwe is to ease its debt crisis by paying white ex-farmers. Zimbabwe plans to pay $331 million to white farmers. White farmers whose land was taken back in 2000 in a bid to get creditors on board for restructuring the country's massive debt, which has kept it shut out of international markets for more than 20 years. And now moving to the global economy, it's reported that Banco BPM, rejects a Unicredit bid, says price undervalues its potential. Italy's Banco BPM has rejected a takeover bid from Unicredit, saying the current offer undervalues the lender, stating that the bid from the larger Italian lender does not reflect in any way the profitability and further potential to create value for Banco BPM shareholders. Anyway, details of this stories and more will come to you on Global Business. And moving away from that real quickly and swiftly, let's jump onto the floors of our featured exchanges this morning. And we're going to be starting off on the floors of the Nigerian Stock Exchange, where it's reported that the NGX all share as at yesterday closed on the low, falling by 0.35%, 3.5% to close at 97,296.56 points. A total of 822,462,284 shares, which are valued at 10,285,517,800 naira, were traded across 9,385 deals with equity capitalization of 58,969,453,886,399 naira 25 kobo. Now we're going to take a look at the biggest gainer and loser of the day. We're interested to know that the biggest gainer of the day was Sinua Shore, which rose by 9.97%. Other gainers were the likes of Guinea Insurance, Con Oil PLC, Dar Communications, and NASCO Nigeria. However, on the other hand, John Holt PLC topped the losers list with a decline of 10%. Other losers were the likes of Aradale, Eterna, HM Coal, and UPDC. We will go on a quick break, and when we return, we'll be looking at activities from other selected exchanges, talking about likes of New York Stock Exchange, the London Stock Exchange, Chinese Stock Exchange, which of course comprises the Shenzhen and Shanghai exchanges. Under that, though, the Afia Business Morning and indeed Opening Bell. We'll be right back after this time out. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Afia Business Morning, and you are watching Opening Bell. And now we're going to check out activities from other selected exchanges, and we're continuing this time around with activities from the New York Stock Exchange, where it's reportedly mostly dips in index values across board, like you can see on the chart already on your screen. The NYSE Composite, DJ, NYSE US 100 Index, and the Dow Jones Industrial Average are all up at 0.33%, 0.50%. and 0.17% respectively. However, the S&P 500 index is down at 0.29%. The NYSE FAN TM index is down 1.63%. The Nasdaq Composite is down 0.77%. The Nasdaq 100 is also down at 1.11%. And away from that, we'll take a trip to the UK now, and London with our London Stock Exchange is our point of call. And interestingly, it's all rises in index values across the board. FTSE 100 is up at 0.03%, FTSE 250, FTSE 350, FTSE All Share Index all up at 0.24%, 0.14%, and 0.11% respectively. Away from that, let's take a look at activities from Asia. We're checking out what's happening in the Chinese Stock Exchange. Shenzhen is our first point of call. I'm interested to know it's all rises as well in index values across board. Shenzhen Component Index is up at 2.25%. The SZSE Composite Index is also up 2.07%. The China Index is also up at 2.73%. I beg your pardon. Now, will that be the same order of events when we go to the exchange at Shanghai? Yes, indeed it is, because it's all rises as well. The Shanghai Exchange, the SSE Composite Index is up at 1.53%. The SSE 50 Index is up at 0.41%. Star 50 Index is up at a whooping 3.61%. And still continuing the winning streak, may interest to know that the SSE 180 Index, SSE 380 Index, CSI 300 Index are all up at 0.03%, 1.91%, and 1.71% respectively. We'll go on another break. When we return, we'll be looking at commodity prices as well as our consumer price watch in the open market. You may want to follow this program and join in on the conversation on our dedicated Afia Business YouTube channel by typing in the search bar www.youtube.com/Afia Business. And while you're there, do hit the like button. Remember, you should subscribe so you get notifications on all business-related content coming to you from Afia TV. And interestingly, too, you can also join us on socials, Instagram more specifically, with the handle at Afia Business _ to be part of our social media community. The Afia Business Morning and indeed opening bell. We'll be right back after this time out. Stay tuned. My name is Ubon Kings.
I am Marvelous Afamaga.
I am Chioma Akbala.
My name is Ifulaya Ndule, but I'm living in our market speaking.
Great to have you rejoin us. You're still watching the Afia Business Morning, and this is the opening bell. My name is Ubon Kings. It's time to check in on, of course, commodities, and we'd like to start off with precious metals this morning. And interestingly, it's upward movement for gold today. Gold is up at 0.36%. Incidentally, as of yesterday, no activity was recorded, but today, well, gold is up. Silver, however, on the other hand, is down at 0.91%. Platinum and palladium are both up at 0.44% and 1.30% respectively. Now let's take a look at energy this morning. Energy, on the other hand, it's a mixture of rises and dips, with more of dips than rises in index values across board. We have the likes of coal and oil, Brent, up at 0.21% and 0.78% respectively. However, natural gas experiences a huge dip at 6.17%. Ethanol goes down also at 1.27%. Oil bonylite is down at 2.84%. Brass River and Kwaibo are both down with the same values of 1.76%. Now let's take a look at industrial metals now. Industrial metals is also more of, well, the reverse is more of rises than dips in index values across board. We have three dips there, three commodities which are down, which is aluminum, lead, and copper, all down at 1.75%, 0.85%, and 0.44% respectively. However, iron ore is up at 0.06%. Nickel, zinc, and tin are all up at 0.75%, 1.87%, and 0.77% respectively. You're still watching the Afia Business Morning. This indeed is the opening bell. Do want to follow this program and join in on the conversation on our dedicated Afia Business YouTube channel. You want to kindly tap in the search bar www.youtube.com/Afia Business. So while you're there, to hit the like button. Remember, you could subscribe so you get notifications on all business-related content coming to you from Afia TV. And while you're there, remember, we're also on socials, Instagram more specifically, with the handle at Afia Business _ to follow us and be part of our social media community. And on that note, that's the size of the package on the opening bell segment of the Afia Business Morning. Coming up next will be, of course, Global Business, where we'll take a look at business news stories around Africa and the rest of the world. Stay tuned as we come back with that particular segment, Global Business. My name is Ubong Kings. Stay tuned. My name is Ubon Kings.
I am Marvelous Afamaga.
I am Chioma Okpala.
My name na Ifunanya Ndule, but I'm living in a market pikin.
The Afia Business Morning. Join me every weekday on the Afia Business Morning as we bring to you a trilogy of business segments. The opening bell where we see activities from our select stock exchanges. The global business where we bring you up to speed on business activities making the rounds all over the world. And we bring the conversation home on the segment Eastern Business Reports as we discuss business activities and issues bedeviling businesses in the Southeast region. My name is Ubong Kings. Join the Afia Business Morning every weekday 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Exclusive to Afia TV on DSTV channel 254 and Go TV channel 17. The Afia Business Morning. Business unusual.
Thank you for rejoining me on the Afia Business Morning. Welcome to Global Business. And here we're going to be taking a look at, business news stories around the continent of Africa and indeed the rest of the world. My name is Ubong Kings. Here are the headlines that we're tracking at the moment. We're starting off with business news stories from Africa, where it's reported that Zimbabwe is poised to ease debt crisis by paying ex-white farmers. And outside Africa, Banco BPM rejects UniCredit bid, says price undervalues them. And from the Asian continent, India seeks tariff barrier reduction in EU deal. We'll bring you details of these stories and more right after this time out. Stay tuned. You're watching Global Business right here on the Afia Business Morning, and we would begin with business news stories from Africa, where it is reported that Zimbabwe plans to pay $331 million to white farmers whose land was taken back in 2000 in a bid to get creditors on board for restructuring the country's massive debt, which has kept it shut out of international markets for more than 20 years. The country has identified at least 439 former landowners as beneficiaries for the financial settlement, according to the African Development Bank President Akinwumi Adesina, who spoke at a debt conference in Harare, but did not provide a timeline for the payments. Fortunately, Zimbabwe has allocated $35 million from this year's budget to begin the payments, which will be made via bonds. Now, let's take a look at something pretty intriguing in this story. Now, this detail is the fact that Zimbabwe is gearing up to pay the sum of $331 million to white former farmers whose land the nation had seized in 2000. That's one. Second, they hope that this action, giving back this land to them, would be a step towards getting creditors to agree to help restructure the nation's debt pile. Thirdly, this debt pile has left it, as it were, that is Zimbabwe, locked out of international capital markets for more than 2 decades. 2 decades, let's put it in context, 20 years. Now, let's bring out some history into this. Are you aware that Robert Mugabe announced the seizure of 804 mostly white-owned farms for the resettlement of poor black farmers in 2000? That's the genesis of all this issue, yeah? Notably, 5 white farmers were killed since Mugabe's supporters began invading farms some months into 2000, right? Now, also, some other farms were involved, and they were owned by black Africans, mostly of whom are critics of Mugabe. So now it clearly shows something. There's a form of, lack of better expression, racism playing out, and there's a form of course, discrimination against certain persons because they are not, supporters of Mugabe. But then again, that was as far back as 2000. So if you ask me, returning the state property, your lands, is pretty much the right step in the right direction. And hopefully, it actually sets the tone to woo investors back into the country. Fingers crossed to see how that plays out. And moving on to other stories, business stories that is, and this time around outside the continent of Africa and into the Asian continent, it's reported that India has pitched for easing of mobility rules in the European Union under a proposed trade deal, while also seeking lowering of non-tariff barriers along with duty cuts to ensure that exports from the country actually benefit rather than getting stuck in a maze of complicated rules and standards the trading bloc is known to erect. Meanwhile, during meetings with India officials led by Commerce Secretary Sunil Barthawal last week, EU, which has been negotiating a trade deal with India for more than a decade, was seen to be more understanding of India's stand. In return, the EU has sought deep reduction in import duties in India, insisting that free trade agreements signed by New Delhi, including the European Free Trade Association, comprising Switzerland and Norway, should not be the benchmark for talks. Now, to me, if you ask me, really, I would say this clearly. A few things jump at me, all right? And pretty much from the very first paragraph. And that is the fact that India has pitched for, listen to this, for the easing of mobility rules in the European Union on the proposed deal. First point. In which they indirectly accuse the European Union of being notorious for creating a maze of complicated rules and standards. Hold up. Does that in any way look similar to what was done to China in the case of electric vehicles? Anyway, are you also aware that the EU is India's third largest partner, accounting for 88 billion euros worth of trade in goods in 2021 alone, or about 10.8% of total Indian trade? Now, you would think in your head, okay, that it's India, right? But China, India, there is a relationship. Yes, you're correct. You're not wrong. But then India is EU's 10th largest trading partner, accounting for 2.1% of the EU total trade in goods. And on the other hand, let's bring China into perspective. In 2003, it was recorded that India and China's bilateral trade was $115.82 billion, which went down 1.66% from 2022. Yes, we agree India is a functional part of BRICS nations, but then it also has to survive, isn't it? Anyway, you're still watching Global Business right here on the Afia Business Morning on Afia TV. You may want to kindly join in on the conversation and watching live right now on our dedicated Afia Business YouTube channel. Go to www.youtube.com/Afia Business. While you're there, do hit the like button, and you should subscribe as well so you get notifications and all business-related content coming to you from Afia TV. You can also join us on socials, Instagram most specifically, with the handle at Afia Business _ to be part of our social media community. Coming up next, with more business news stories from the rest of the world right after this time out. Stay tuned. My name is Ubon Kings.
I am Marvelous Afia.
I am Chioma Akbala.
My name na Ifunaya Ndule, but I'm living in a market speaking.
Thank you for joining me on the Global Business segment of the Afia Business Morning. Now to the rest of our stories. This time we're going to be moving over to stories, from Italy, where it's reported that Italy's Bamco BPM has rejected a takeover bid from UniCredit, saying the current offer undervalues the lender, stating that the bid from the larger Italian lender does not reflect in any way profitability and further potential to create value for Banco BPM shareholders. This comes after a board meeting where Banco BPM officials discussed UniCredit's offer from Monday, where the meeting followed a surprise offer from UniCredit in which it announced it would offer 0.175 of its own shares for each share in Banco BPM, valuing the stock at 6.657 euros each. Now, very quickly, I know I did say that we'll see a lot of potential mergers, acquisitions, and outright takeovers this year, and yeah, well, this is no different, yes, but the price is not just right at the moment. It may just be right after, but therefore now it is not. Recall that on Monday this week, these negotiations began. Well, who knows? It just may be sealed or not this week, or maybe next, but wait. The issue really is that Italy's Banco BPM, on one hand, has rejected the takeover bid from UniCredit. The allegations is, or what they are saying is that the current offer undervalues the lender, stating that the bid from the larger lender does not in any way show the profitability and further potential to create value, which is key for Banco's BPM shareholders. Anyway, we'll eventually see how all of that pans out eventually, won't we? And in an attempt to end this bulletin, let's bring you this report that Zeren Group has further expanded its energy interest in both Turkey and Europe, with Turkey Petroleum purchase one of Turkey's largest fuel retail chains as it had in the UK, including the Lava Energy, a London-based energy consultancy firm. Meanwhile, Zeren's new total network of 1,120 petrol stations in the country is equivalent to around 6.5% of the national fuel market, which grew 7.9% to $35 billion of sales in 2023, according to energy regulator EPDK. However, I'm interested to know that the company says its latest acquisition strengthens its position as a leader in Turkey's energy sector and represents a consolidation of domestic energy companies. Now, let me try to break down something real quickly, all right? And the truth is that I don't have an issue with investing in fossil fuels, but the question really is why? I say so because I thought there was a deliberate shift from fossil fuels all around the world, but it doesn't really appear so, because quite a number of companies are really still staying true with fossil fuels, really. Anyway, TRT World tells us more on how Turkey is putting energy investments into full gear. Let's take a look.
Digging deeper to discover more. Turkey is expanding its energy production and output. Authorities are looking to grow its number of drilling operations to 270 in 2025. There's been an upward trend in oil production in Turkey since the beginning of the year. The country reached an all-time high of 107,000 barrels per day in August. This is largely thanks to new oil discoveries in its southeast region of Gabar. And the country is not just looking into fossil fuels, it's expanding into alternative energy sources, including renewables.
Today, by 2023, 55% of our installed power and 42% of our power generation comes from renewables. And now we have even more ambitious targets with the recent 2035 roadmap declared by the Ministry of Energy. Now our target for wind and solar energy is 120 gigawatts.
Turkey has also set its sights on nuclear investments to better secure its energy needs. The Akkuyu nuclear power plant will be the country's first. It is currently the world's largest nuclear power project. Planned to be online by 2028, it's expected to generate 10% of Turkey's electricity.
We are one of the first Turkish companies working at Turkey's nuclear power plant. What have we been able to achieve so far? Many Turkish engineers are working within our organization, and Turkish workers are actively participating in the system. We are striving for Turkish companies to gain capabilities in nuclear technology, and we are striving to support localization policies as much as we can.
With such major projects in the works, the country is preparing to be an energy powerhouse in the region.
Oh well, we'll follow with this story as well as other stories as they unfold and keep you in the loop, just so you know what's happening in the world of business the world over. You also may want to get to our dedicated Afia Business YouTube channel to know more. Kindly type in the search bar www.youtube.com/Afia Business, and while you're there, do well to hit the like button. Remember, you should subscribe so you get notifications on all business-related content coming to you from Afia TV. And interestingly, too, you can join us on our socials on Instagram, specifically with the handle at Afia Business _ to be part of our social media community. You're still watching the Afia Business Morning Live right here on Afia TV. Coming up next will be a conversation on, tourism, domestic tourism. How well are the Southeast fared in all of this? All of that will be coming to you on the segment, the Eastern Business Report. Stay tuned. My name is Ubong Kings. My name is Ubon Kings.
I am Marvelous Apamaga.
I am Chioma Okpala.
My name na Ifunaya Ndule, but I'm living in a market speaking.
For any broke island bachelor.
I just she have not shown sign of settling down.
Oh, you don't mean it. Power to deliver Isabella.
I might have a solution.
You take this and spray it twice. Shake the gentleman. Place it on your lips and say the magic word.
Yes. I'm worried about you. Why don't you settle down?
See how stupid and dumb you sound?
You, my darling, are unlucky in life.
Our wedding, you must not cook jollof. You can eat small chops.
From the commercial nerve center of the Southeastern Nigeria, the Abia State Government and Aba Chamber of Commerce, Industries, Mines and Agriculture, ASIMA, invite manufacturers, investors, trade unions, captains of industries, and the general public to the 2024 Aba International Trade Fair Summit and Exhibition. Take advantage of these opportunities to showcase your business to the rest of the world, improve your sales and brand visibility. Date 28 November to 7th December 2024. Venue Aba Mega Mall along Aba Umaya Expressway, Osisioma, Abia State. This message is endorsed by the Abia State Government and Aba Chamber of Commerce, Industries, Mines and Agriculture, ASIMA. For partnership, sponsorship and participation enquiries, visit www.abainternationaltradefair.com. On Facebook at Aba International Trade Fair. On X, Aba International Trade Fair. Fair or call Marcus on 0806 605 4420 or Sam on 0802 826 9391. Aba International Trade Fair. Be a part of it.
But why won't I be happy? Not just because it's festive season. It's moments of friendship and 16 million reasons to love. Small pepper.
Babes, this dress is given. Don't forget the earrings. Those are 2 reasons already.
The best reasons will make your heart beat faster. Come on! And make every laugh worth it. It's all about holding hands, sharing and enjoying happy times together.
Have more reasons to be happy with Niger dramas, football, and more smiles on DSTV this festive season. DSTV, your home of entertainment.
The Afia Business Morning. Join me every weekday on the Afia Business Morning as we bring to you a trilogy of business segments. See opening bell where we see activities. Afia Business Morning. Business unusual.
You are watching the Afia Business Morning, and this is the Eastern Business Report, which is designed to bring you up to speed on business activities and policies, as well as issues affecting businesses and the economy of the southeastern region of Nigeria. It comes right after Global Business on the Afia Business Morning. And on today's edition of the Eastern Business Report, we will be having a conversation that would, be around domestic tourism in Nigeria, the Southeast story. Now, it may interest you to know that domestic tourism in Nigeria is a growing industry that can help revitalize the country's economy and communities. I'm also interested to know that economic impact is there. Domestic tourism is pretty much the largest source of spending in Nigeria's travel and tourism sector. In 2022 alone, domestic spending was around $10 billion, while international spending was around $860 million. Also, it could also engender rural development. Domestic tourism can help revitalize rural communities by creating jobs, spurring entrepreneurships, and generate revenue as well. Seasonal balance is yet another thing. Domestic tourism can help balance out the seasonality of international tourism and fill properties during low occupancy periods. There's also social interaction. Domestic tourism can help people from different regions of Nigeria interact more closely. And then there's government support. The Nigerian government could continue to promote, if they are already promoting domestic tourism through different initiatives. Some of Nigeria's tourist attractions include the likes of the hills, waterfalls, springs, lakes, mountains, rocks, and beaches. Also, there are man-made attractions, resorts, parks, game reserves, and ranches. Also, cultural attractions, the likes of festival carnivals, and notable sites include Obodo Cattle Rand, Ogbonike, Oshun, Oshogbo Grove, Kajuru Castle, and the Yankari Games Reserve. Now, these are not without challenges. Some challenges domestic tourism in Nigeria include infrastructure deficiencies, security concerns, economic volatility, and competition, as well as differentiation. But now the question really is, how has the Southeast fared in this, as far as domestic tourism is concerned? Anyway, this will form the basis of our conversation this morning. My name is Ubong Kings. Welcome. It's good to have you join us again. And yes, indeed, we're talking domestic tourism. How well has the Southeast fared in this? How well has Enugu State specifically fared in these? And joining me on this conversation is none other than Emeka Odom, who is a journalist by excellence and a public affairs analyst. It's good to have you join us. Emeka, it's been a while. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Yes. Just before we begin this conversation on whether or not the Southeast is positioned when it comes to domestic tourism or not, I stumbled on a video by Okolie Uchechukwu, who took out the time to talk about domestic tourism. So let's take a look at that video. When we come back, we'll have this conversation.
Welcome to Nigeria, a fascinating country. Take a trip through one of the most beautiful places on earth. A journey of discovery. A unique opportunity to get in touch with unspoiled nature. Enjoy your time in a place that offers something for everyone. A land of beautiful contrasts. An experience you won't forget.
Less than 20% of Nigerians travel within the country or domestic tourism. Worse still, a lot of Nigerians prefer destinations outside the country. Major airlines are daily filled with Nigerians on holidays abroad, and yet the likes of ABC Transport, Chisco, and Cross Country move thousands of Nigerians across the West African coast on holidays, especially to Ghana. So what then are the challenges of Nigeria domestic tourism?
All right, it's good to have you join us. And yes, indeed, you just saw that particular reportage that actually took our time to look at a few things that we would want to touch on already. All thanks to Uche Chiku. And yes, I still have my guests here in the studio still seated in person of Emeka Otom. Now, first and foremost, what are your thoughts? Has Nigeria done well when it comes to the place of domestic tourism?
Okay, thank you so much. You know, tourism is something that over time we've talked about it. Now, whether Nigeria has done well in terms of domestic tourism, the point is, in some aspects, yes, even though they are not properly documented and there's no conscious effort to properly situate them, you know, where they belong to. And so in that case, it becomes very difficult to actually capture it in terms of, you know, record keeping. However, that doesn't mean that we have not done well, but that is limited to some certain aspects. For instance, when we look at, you know, traveling is a very important aspect of local tourism. And if you look at Nigerian environment, there's so much movement, you know, all across the length and breadth of Nigeria, from the west to the south to the east, from east to the north, and so there's a massive movement, and they say Nigerians are traveling people. Now we are approaching the Yuletide. You will see that those who are into transport business, this seems to be their very peak. You know, from now to perhaps early in the new year, and moving down to Easter, the same thing. Moving middle of the year, you know, all kinds of people have all kinds of things that, you know, prepare people to move. The August women, the holiday period, and many other, the New Yam festivals, and many other things. If you move down to the west, that the Ojoba festival, these are things that prepare people to move. And these are all elements of tourism, you know. But they have not been properly captured and situated, you know, within the context of, oh, this is tourism. People still see them as a way of life, you know. So that is number one. But there are many other aspects as well where you can say we have not really done well. And like I shared in this studio in the past, there's something we call MICE in modern tourism.
Yeah.
When you look at it in the case of meetings, incentives, conferences, and events, now you ask yourself, even though some of these things are taking place, quite frankly, they are taking place, but how well are they packaged with a tourism consciousness over there? For instance, if a political party is going to have a convention in, say, state A, how much conscious tourism is planned around that? Not just the fact that the political party is coming together probably to elect their officers. That is the core event. But around that event, you could reap, you know, millions of naira, you could create millions of business opportunities around that event. It depends on how you are able to package it. Because there are so many things along the value chain. These are all elements of, you know, domestic tourism. Now, again, also, you must ask yourself, how are we consciously planning towards these things, setting in motion, you know, plans and programs, building infrastructure that will support domestic tourism? These are the issues. Now, I'm happy because even though Nigerians are waking up to the sense that individuals are taking the bull by the horn, you know. I'm aware that there's an event taking place in Enugu, you know, presently, and it's titled domestic tourism, and that's a very good step in the right direction, you know. These are effort by individuals, but beyond that, how much is it? Because the truth is that government must always set the path. There's limit to what individuals can do.
Right.
For instance, now let's say, for instance, that the domestic tourism that is taking place in Enugu now, a lot of professionals, a lot of people are expected to come in here. Now, this is a knowledge sharing event, and is also a skill distribution event. Now, apart from the core event that is happening, what about the value chain around it? How much, for people who want to fly into Enugu, outside of Enugu, how much of transport infrastructure is available, whether by road or by air? How much of security can be guaranteed? Because if somebody is in Lagos, you are asking him to please come in for this conference, the first thing he's going to ask himself, look, how secure is the place? Now, if somebody is coming probably with, maybe you are inviting an organization, they are coming to take, they should be able to ask you, Are there hotel rooms available? Are they affordable? For the next 2, 3, 5 days, I'm going to be here. If I cannot eat the food of these people of this place, can I get something to eat within the period I'm going to be here? So these are some of the questions to ask. So domestic tourism is one. In some aspects we are doing well, but in some aspects we are not doing well. And even the areas that we are doing well, there's no conscious effort to actually situate it to say, yes, this is what we are doing in this perspective. And because if that is done, then it will be captured, and at the end of the day, you'll be able to say, look, this is the extent to which you can say we have done it.
In other words, we do not have enough data to back up any of these things.
Yes, because the data will come when there's a conscious effort to plan along that line. And so that is now when you track, because when you are planning, part of the planning is to, track what you are doing, the outcomes, the activities that are going in, and the outcomes. That is data. That is data. But when there's no plan, I mean, for instance, if you plan, if you say this is going to be a road and you put a toll gate here, then you'll be able to, part of that toll gate you're putting here is to track the number of cars that are passing this place.
Right.
So that's the way it is. Before you can have accountability.
Okay. Now let's look at the Southeast. Let's look at Enugu, where we are. I mean, I came into this town and I was going somewhere. They said I should get to Zoo Estate, sir. And the thing here is, I had to ask questions, right? Why is it called this? They said they used to be. And now, the question is, we know that quite a number of governments, to a large extent, want to, for lack of a better expression, urbanize their, locations and all. But urbanization versus tourism, can there be a meeting point where these two things actually coexist without one suffering?
Very well. In fact, let me tell you, and I said this every sense of responsibility. In my postgraduate diploma thesis, I talked about harmonization, a meeting point between urban and regional planning, arts and cultural management, and tourism. The three of them can melt together in one. Now, I'll give you, for instance, if you go to a place like Beijing in China, now there's a particular part of the town. Almost all the houses you're going to see in that place, the architectural design, the planning and everything is in conformity with the cultural history, the culture and history of the people of that area. Now, irrespective of how modern, of course, Beijing is a very modern town with skyscrapers and and many other facilities of modern era. But in the midst of all these things, you will find all of these things put together. Now, I'll take you down again. If you go to a place like Jos, now there's a hotel called the Hilltop Hotel in Jos. I mean, I don't know what that hotel is doing now, but all within that environment, the facilities and the hotel, the buildings, they are constructed and fashioned after the topography and the history and culture of the place. So within the context of urbanization, yes, the culture and tourism can find a place. It's just a matter of what is culture all about? Preserving the history and the tradition of a place. That is and in line with the totality of the way of life of the people of that place. Now, in planning modern cities or in urbanization, you don't completely relegate in all of those, because they also have a part to play. For instance, if you walk into a town, you don't need to read anything. You don't need to ask any questions. You should have a feel of the history and culture of these people, where they are coming from. Where they are coming from. And to an extent, I also want to congratulate Enugu on that aspect, because over time, if you walk into this town, you will see some of the monuments that are erected. If you go to somewhere around, somewhere heading towards, is it the New Market? You saw the cenotaph there, and you probably go towards the coal camp. By the time you see a lot of these monuments here and there, you'll be able to ask yourself, say, there's something about history. There's a history of struggle and agitation and freedom in the history of this place. Then you begin to ask questions. You begin to ask, what is the reason for this? What is the reason? Why is this so? All of these things are elements of communication. They tell one or two stories about the town. So you don't say because you're planning a modern city and you brush them aside. That was on one side. Then modern cities are a complete city. A modern city is a complete city that boasts of green areas, that boasts of natural habitations, that boasts of, whatever modern nature has bequeathed to that city. You don't brush them aside because you want to build houses. No. It's so unfortunate that if you move around the major cities of Nigeria today, I don't think you can find a functional zoo in the real sense of it.
I like that way you said it, in the real sense of it.
Anywhere. You probably hear, oh, there used to be a zoo here. And even where a certain portion of it is still being preserved, you walk into that place, probably what you see is just one lone monkey that is struggling from one end to the other. You move over to the other side, you see one bird. And you move over to the other side, perhaps that's it. You see one tortoise that is almost, that is just... You won't go to a place and where you see real wild animals. See, these things enrich the knowledge of children. When I was growing up, it was fun then to go to a zoo to see all kinds of animals. The ones you see on TV, the ones you read about, you see them in real life. The feeling and the nostalgic feeling is something you hold on to for the rest of your life.
Right.
I remember the first time I saw a lion. The roaring of a lion, I can still reminisce that till today. So these are the things, these things are part of life, and these are the things that make up a city. And if you go to places where there are natural habitations, but how many of them exist here? Apart from the Yankari Game Reserve, how many other natural habitations do we have in Nigeria that is still preserved till today? So these are reasons why people will live where they are and say, look, we want to go to some place to go and see this. When I was in Lagos, several times, we travel to Ibadan to go to the zoo. We pay transport, that is local tourism. When we get to Ibadan, sometimes we lodge. If we can't come back that day, we look for where to stay. That is local tourism. We eat, that is local tourism.
That's right.
And when you are doing this, those who provide those services in those areas are benefiting. They could be very little. You could say you are spending little. Those people could say they are getting very little. But over time, when they are pulled together, that is what accounts for the $10 billion the report talked about. And so we need, government must take local tourism very serious. And if you look at Nigeria today, you begin to ask yourself, do we really have enough rooms, enough hotel rooms to accommodate? In fact, let's even look at the Southeast generally. Have you ever asked, why wouldn't a party like the PDP a party like the APC hold their national convention? Why is it always taking place either in Lagos, Port Harcourt, or Abuja? And once in a while, once it's held in Jos. Why are they saying out these states? Why can't every other state hold it? Why? The organizers of this event will tell you, look, these states, do they have the facilities to accommodate this, the transport facilities, the security facilities, the accommodation hotel facilities, the other infrastructure that go along with it? How well are the streets? How well are the streets designed and numbered?
Yeah.
And properly identified? If a visitor comes into this town now, can a visitor move from the airport, find a street that is not as popular as Presidential Road, or not as popular as Abakaliki Road? Can a visitor find one obscure street properly marked and identified as he's walking along the streets? Can he do so? There are still so many streets that they are neither numbered nor are they properly demarcated and marked out. These are the things that define local tourism. Local tourism is huge, and there are so many ways we can tap from it. And I'm happy that the workshop, the conference that is taking place in Enugu today, is taking place in a place like Enugu here. These are usually things you hear in either Abuja or Lagos.
Yeah.
I'm happy it's taking place here, and the consciousness of the people are, more and more drawn towards that area. And I hope that the government will participate. The government will come and let professionals speak. And I'm also happy that the current governor will have doing a lot of things. And you can see that if you walk around town, you see that probably designing the bus stops and the bus stop cubicles and these are things that if a visitor comes to town, these are things you see abroad and we admire them. These are the things that define these cities abroad. When you say is a city, there's more to it. It's not just because people are living in those places there's electricity. These are not the things that really make a city. It's those infrastructures that are the things that define a city.
Oh, well, I guess we have some distance to cover as far as Nigeria and then the Southeast generally is concerned with reference to this. But how do you see this? Do you see this changing in the next 5 years?
Yes, things must change. Things must change.
For the better, I mean.
Yeah, things must change for the better, yes. Because, we can't remain where we are. As more and more knowledge, like I made reference to because little things like this, knowledge is spread. The consciousness of people are called towards the things that we need to do. Of course, there's a part there's a part for the government to play, and there's also a part for individuals, business outfits, conglomerates. There's a part for them to play. In those days, we used to see parks, roundabouts, undertaken by corporate bodies as part of corporate social responsibility.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And you can be part of this conversation. You may want to share your thoughts, drop of a comment or two on our dedicated Afia Business YouTube channel. Kindly type in the search bar www.youtube.com/Afia Business. And while you're there, do hit the like button. Remember, you should subscribe so you get notifications on all business-related content coming to you from Afia TV. And also, you can join us on our socials, specifically on Instagram with the handle at Afia Business _ to be part of our social media community. And this is the size of the package today on the Eastern Business Report, and you're still watching the Afia Business Morning live from Enugu State, Nigeria. Coming up next is Onye Afia. My name is Ubong Kings. Stay tuned.
Tonight is going to be a night of blessing. Jesus has brought you from January to today. Yeah!